Hi again, everybody. My name is Greg Anderson, and this is the Good Timekeeping Show with Greg Anderson. And today I want to talk about G-Shock squares again, but I want to show you my newest member of the family. This is the G-Shock square. This is the GW-B5600CD 1A3. And you'll notice in the model names of a lot of these watches, if there's a 3 in there, usually indicates that there's a green color involved somehow in the watch. So there is kind of a green tint to the screen there, kind of an overall green theme there, as opposed to one that I just got a little bit earlier. This one is kind of a blue theme here, and these are part of the same collection, the Charles Darwin Foundation collaboration to support, right there it says, Apoyo la conservación de Galapagos. So helping to support the conservation of the Galapagos Islands. So this one here, the green one, has kind of a Finch theme because Charles Darwin, when he was in the Galapagos, Finch was one of the animals that he was observing back then. So there you go, a little Finch knockout there on the keeper. And this one here was more of a shark theme. So it has the shark knockout there on the keeper. So that's what you see here with these, but I wanted to talk about this one. And since I recently made a video about the blue one here, I thought I would start a little bit differently here. You may have noticed these watches are not synchronized right now. I'll tell you right now, the one on the right is set to the correct time and the one on the left is not set to the correct time. I deliberately set this to the wrong hours, minutes, seconds, the wrong month, the wrong date, wrong day of the week because it's the wrong year. And also this is set to the wrong time zone, which you can't tell from looking at it right now in this mode. But everything's wrong. Why did I set it wrong? So I could demonstrate what is good about the Bluetooth connection. Now, I know there are some watch fans out there that kind of think that Bluetooth doesn't really belong on a G-Shock square. They're kind of upset about that. But I wanted to show you what's good about Bluetooth. So if you choose to use it, here's what's good about it. So I told you everything's wrong on here. So let's go in, and I'm going to go to the top of this page here, and I'm going to add a watch to the collection. So I'm going to go to My Watch. I'm going to hit the big plus sign down here. Add a watch is asking for the module number, and that is right here on this tag. So it's 3540. Okay, so I'll go to next, and it's going to ask me which watch it is. It's the CD for the Charles Darwin collection. It's this green one here. So I'm going to select that and register this watch. Now it's going to tell me the next step, and this would be the first step if it's already registered to the app, right? So all I'm going to do is hold down this mode button here for a couple of seconds until it starts to connect, and you'll notice very quickly once it makes the connection, here it goes, connecting, and drum roll please. Here we go. There you go. And it just took a few seconds, and now you can see that they are synchronized. So if I break off this connection here, and you'll see it's the right day of the week, the date, the time, and also the time zone is correct now. So that's what's kind of nice. Now, these watches also have Multiband 6, so they can, depending on where you are in the world, they can pick up their atomic time information from any of 6 transmitters in different parts of the world. And it takes a few minutes to make that connection, to process the data that they're receiving, and to set themselves to the correct time right down to the second. But as you could see using the Bluetooth connection, I was able to make that correction in just a few seconds. And the other thing that's nice about that is, as you're traveling around with your smartphone, you may notice that as you change time zones because you've traveled to a different time zone, usually your cell phone carrier will they'll use their location data. They know which cell phone towers you're connected to. They know you've changed time zones, and depending on how you've set up the phone, it will automatically update the time based on the time zone that you've just entered, right? So what that does is, since that happens automatically with your phone, the next time you do a Bluetooth connection with your watch, it's going to update the time zone in the watch. Now, with some of these other G-Shock squares I have, this one does not have the Bluetooth. It has Multiband 6, it has tough solar, it has a lot of features that this one shares. But without Bluetooth on this one, the only way the watch knows I've changed time zones is if I go into the setup screens here, and I were to tell it to change from, say, Denver to the Los Angeles time zone. Otherwise, it's just going to keep trying to set itself to the correct time zone for Denver, which is the mountain time zone of the United States. But this one here, again, with Bluetooth, when you connect it to Bluetooth, it's going to update according to whatever time zone the phone is telling it that's the location. Now let's go back to the phone app and have a little bit of fun here. I'm going to reconnect the watch to the app. And again, it's going to take just a few seconds to finalize that connection and make sure that anything that needs to be updated on the watch has been updated. And there we go. Now you'll see here on my list of watches, it now shows 2 of them with the same model number, except now this one has a number 2 next to it. So if I go in here and go to this watch, then I can go here and change the watch name. And I'll just, instead of have it _2, I'll just go ahead and say it's green and apply that. And so now when I go onto my list of watches, there you go. You have a green one and a blue one. Oh, actually, I got the wrong. Hang on. Let me update the illustration as well. It should be that green one, not the blue one. Come on. Oh, I tap right there. There we go. I just didn't tap it correctly the first time. So there. Now this is the green one. And from here, it might be easier to set up some of the things like the alarms. You know, you've got 5 alarms here. The 5th one is a snooze alarm, plus the hourly signal. So I can turn them on and off, or, change the exact alarm time pretty easily using the app. And that might be easier for folks to do instead of a combination of buttons on the watch to make some of those same changes. Also, you've got a countdown timer on here. Now I can change the duration of the countdown timer so that the next time I try to get it on the watch, it's going to be whatever I've set here. And that can be hours, minutes, and seconds, any combination I want, from 1 second all the way up to a full 24 hours on the timer. There's a reminder function, and this is one of the functions that's only available through the app. So if you don't use the app, you don't use Bluetooth, you're not going to have this, but this will allow you to set some sort of custom reminder to happen, every week, every month, every year, or during a training period, or maybe just only once. You can have it set a reminder, and you can put a title on that, whatever you want to. I say reminder to do some timekeeping. Okay, and I save that to the watch. Other than that, you have also, this is also something that you can get from the app that is not necessarily available on the watch. On the watch, if you want to set up your 5 quick access world time zones, you have several options, but on the map here on the app, you have even more options to scroll around on the map and choose a city you want, or you can just customize. You can say, let's see, let's say I want to get San Diego instead of Los Angeles for one of my world time zones. It would still show the same exact time information, but maybe for me, that's just nicer to say that it's San Diego, it's not Los Angeles for one of my world time zones. So that's something you could set up, again, in the app, or you can do a combination of buttons on the watch and get all those same time zones, but maybe not the customized cities. Time synchronization, something you can do with the app. So that's a great one if, for example, you live in an area of the world where multiband 6 just doesn't work. You're out of range, or there's something going on where you are that causes radio reception interference. So you can still get that down to the second accuracy, atomic time, through the app instead of through multiband 6. Oh, and here's also a phone finder. So if you want to, you can press buttons. Here, I'm going to test this. And yeah, maybe, can you hear that? So, all right. So that means you can press a button on the watch to find your phone in case your phone is slipped between the cushions of your couch or whatever. And then, of course, also some other watch settings available here, whether or not it makes extra sounds when you press the keys, the light duration when you press the button for the light, power saving, your summertime or daylight saving time settings. And then another nice thing here about the app is that you've got some tutorials, and you can also go straight to the instruction manual from the app. And I guess the only other thing I'd have to say that the app can do that the watch cannot do, just simply cannot do it, is show you the exact level of charge on the battery. In this case, it's fully charged, so it won't show you that on the watch at all. Now, some people, that really bothers them. They want a little indicator on the face of the watch. Similar to what you have on this non-Bluetooth version. You have low, medium, high, and there's a little notch right there above the H to show you that this one is on a high charge. This one's fully charged. This watch here just never shows you the state of the battery charge on the watch itself. The only way to get that is from the app, but it's okay. It's really okay. All your functions are going to work just fine, even if the battery is not fully topped off all the way charged. It's only when the battery gets down below a certain level of charge that some of the functions disappear. And that just comes down to, are you giving this watch enough light? It's a tough solar watch. It gets all of its power from a solar cell that's built into the face of the watch. And if you're not giving it enough exposure to light, the battery's going to drain. And then the functions will shut down when there's not enough power in the battery. But normal use, and when you're not using it, you're leaving it in a place that's not completely dark, and you won't have any trouble with the battery. So again, I know it bothers some people that you have to use the app to get the battery charge information, but I would say most of the time, the vast majority of the time, you don't really need to know that. Okay. It's just for people that are, just kind of picky about that detail. I understand being picky about certain details, but I also really like this watch. I like the Bluetooth squares. I have several that have similar modules. Now, this is a bit newer module than some of the others that do exactly the same stuff and interact with the app exactly the same way. So this is 3540 is the module. And I haven't confirmed this exactly, but the best speculation out there says that the reason the module is a new module, a whole new module, newer than, say, this one over here on the right. The reason it's a new module is that maybe they've updated the circuitry, the chip in there that actually does the Bluetooth work. Now, in your everyday usage, you're not going to notice that that's different, but just what's happening behind the scenes with the technology, a little bit of an update in there. But otherwise, all the functions, if you press the buttons, if you do anything with the watch, it's going to operate the same way this one here on the right does. They're both going to operate exactly the same way. And that's kind of cool. All right, so now I've got two of these Charles Darwin Foundation watches, and they each came in boxes like this. So the Shark one came in the blue box, the Finch one came in the green box. And normally I don't show you boxes because unboxing is kind of a silly thing to show, but you can see the Finch theme there. It comes with kind of all these environmentally friendly materials. So no plastic in the packaging, no metal in the packaging. It's all kind of paper products here. And this little bag, the watch was actually inside this bag when I pulled it out there. And if I take all this apart, there's manuals inside there too. So, I don't really do anything with boxes once I start using my watches, and I don't even store them in boxes. I store them in one of these cases here. But I just thought I'd show you the box. Especially that might be helpful to you if you're concerned that you're getting the authentic thing wherever you're buying these watches. Now, I bought this directly from Casio. Why? Because I couldn't find a deal elsewhere. It's $170. Everywhere I looked, it was close to that price. Maybe I could have saved, I don't know, $5 if I'd ordered it from someone off eBay, sending it from Japan. But then I would have had to wait for it to come from Japan. And I figured, all right, there's no significant discount. I'll go ahead and pay the full $170 for this one and buy direct from Casio and sent from New Jersey, and it's fine. It's fine. Normally, I try to be patient. I try to save, even if it's $10. If I can save $10 on a watch, that just helps me enhance my collection, a little bit more money in my pocket, right? But that's what I did for this one. And with it being kind of a special edition, limited edition perhaps, I figured maybe get it now, go ahead and pay what they're asking. If I wait too long, maybe they'll be out of stock. Maybe they will have stopped production, so I might as well just go for it. So that's just a game you have to play when you're waiting for a deal. This watch has been around since about the middle of December. So we're looking at, 4 or 5 months here that this has been available to buy. And I don't know if it's going to become rare soon or not. I figured now was a good time to just make that decision. You're going to buy it or not? Okay, then put up the $170 and move on and be happy. And I am happy with this watch. Let me go through all the functions and features in case I haven't told you this in another video. I really like going through these anyway. As you can see on the face of the watch, it's got a few things written all around here, but it's still a little bit simpler than this one here. This one here on the right, it has mode, adjust, light, receive. It doesn't have that on here. It does say some things on the back for what those buttons do. but I kind of know what those buttons do already, so I'm not going to worry about that. It's kind of a nice simple face with that nice nature design and a little Finch there, so that's cool. Also on the back of it, got a special back with the Charles Darwin Foundation logo on it and all the normal information that you would normally expect to find on the back of a G-Shock. But there it is, that nice kind of milled back with 4 screws to hold that on. And with any luck, I'm telling you, with Tough Solar, it's going to be many, many years before I ever even am tempted to take the back off of this watch, because there just won't be anything to do in there. I don't have to open it up to change batteries. If I do, that's going to be a long time from now anyway. So just enjoy the watch. All right, so right here from this main screen, you can see you've got the day of the week, the month and date, hours, minutes, seconds. Right now it's in the AM, PM mode, a 12-hour mode. So when it's AM, it just doesn't show you anything. Once it gets to PM, there'll be a little PM indicator there. Some of these other things there, DST, right now it's showing daylight saving time for our time zone, because this time of year, that is the correct legal time here, showing daylight saving time. Also, PS means there's a power save mode enabled here that will turn off the display overnight to save a little bit of power. The automatic light is enabled. That's what LT means. And RCVD means that the last time it tried to receive atomic time information, either through Multiband 6 or the app, it was successful. So Tough Solar, as I said, that means that there's a solar cell built into the watch, and exposure to normal lighting should give plenty of solar power to keep that watch battery fully charged and functional. Also, Multiband 6, in case I haven't told you already, Multiband 6 is a technology that Casio has developed, where this watch has a little radio receiver built into it. And every night, starting at midnight, it's going to try to receive atomic time information to keep itself synchronized right down to the second to the correct time. Some people might call it internet time. I call it atomic time, but the point is that's the universal time that everyone uses. So I like having a watch that automatically sets itself to that correct time. So as for those transmitters, they're in the northern part of the world. So you've got one in China, there are 2 in Japan, there's also one in the UK and one in Germany, and of course my favorite here in the United States, WW-VB out of Colorado, is the one that this one is set to receive. If you're in a time zone, some of the time zones that are programmed into the watch, well, they know that those are probably cities that are too far out of range for Multiband 6, so it won't even try to receive if you're in some of those time zones. And in that case, you can still get your accurate timekeeping by using the app. And so again, I know there are a lot of great watch enthusiasts in Australia and South America and places where, Multiband 6 just doesn't work. So you can do this with your smartphone. That will work, and you'll be all set. Okay, so that's the main mode right here. Let's go to the next mode. And I press that button down there on the left to go to the next mode. This is your world time mode. So I've selected 5 cities that I can get quick access to show me the time in those cities. And right there, it's named after a major city in that time zone. So the London time zone, which is sometimes the same as UTC, sometimes different. I see that one, San Diego, that I just set a few minutes ago. This one for Hong Kong, and again, I can customize whichever those time zones are to get quick access to my world time zones. The hourly signal is set, so every hour on the hour it'll beep, and then there are 5 alarms, and the 5th alarm is a snooze alarm. So what happens with the snooze alarm is it's set for 8 o'clock. At 8 o'clock, if I have it turned on, then it'll beep for 10 seconds. There's my alarm. It's not a super loud alarm. If you're a light sleeper, it'll be fine, but maybe it's more of a reminder alarm. Don't depend on it to wake you up from a deep sleep, I suppose. But that snooze alarm, it's going to go for 10 seconds. And 5 minutes later, it'll do it again. 5 minutes later, it'll do it again, all the way up to 30 minutes after the alarm setting. So that's how the snooze alarm works, and you can have that on or off. And when any of the alarms are set to go on, it changes that icon right there. So right now they're all set to off. When the hourly signal is set on, it changes that icon again on and off. Okay, the next mode is the stopwatch mode, and this is nice. Okay, it goes minutes, seconds, and hundredths of a second, and continues to show you your local time right there. And once it gets up to an hour, everything shifts over, and it'll show hours, minutes, and seconds all the way up to 24 hours, then it resets to 0 and just starts over. So you get that. And of course, it works like a lot of other digital watches. You've got the stop right there. You've got reset up here on the left side. Or if it's running and you press this button here, you get your split time or lap time, and then you can stop and reset. So very familiar stuff with the stopwatch. And of course, the countdown timer, which can be all the way up to a full 24-hour countdown timer if it's set to all zeros. And again, you have the local time up there in the corner while you're in the countdown timer mode. When the countdown timer is actively running, then it won't make the multiband 6 connection, and I think it won't. I'll have to test it. Maybe it won't even connect to the smartphone either when you're doing that. So just if something's going wrong, hey, I'm not getting multiband 6. Double check and see if your countdown timer is running, and stop that so you can make that connection. So that's basically everything there. Now this one has the light. Well, no, hang on. Let me go into the setups. Okay. So right here is where you set your time zone, and if I push the button down here on the right, it's as though I'm going eastward on the map to check out these other time zones, or I can go back the other way here, and right now it's kind of default. Since my last selection was Denver, it'll take me right there, but if I want to scroll through and see some of these other ones, I can get those too, or just leave it on Denver. Okay, next I press the adjust button. This is where daylight saving time, it can be automatically changing, or it can always be off and never show you the daylight saving time display, like in Arizona perhaps, or always on, which there's some legislation to change it so that we're year-round daylight saving time in some parts of the United States. And if that happens, then maybe I'll have to set that to on all the time. But for now, automatic is how I want that. Here's where you can manually set the time. So if I push that there, it'll just reset the seconds, or it's telling me it's in 12-hour mode, or I can do, hours and minutes, set those. Here's where I can select a new year, month, date. I can do all this. Now, here's where I can select either the 12-hour or 24-hour mode. Okay, then here is where you can have the date displayed as a month first or date first, right here. So depending on where you are in the world, if that's the correct configuration, you got that. Also, the abbreviation of the day of the week can be in English, Spanish, French, German, Italian, Russian, or back to English. Here, you can mute the little beeps that happen every time you press a key to change modes or start and stop a stopwatch or countdown timer. You can have a little musical note kind of thing, a little beep, or you can mute that. And only when it's in mute, it will still make sounds when you're at the end of a countdown timer, or when the alarms go off, or when the hourly signal happens, but otherwise it's not going to make as much noise when you're in mute mode. Then the backlight can be on for either 4 seconds or 2 seconds, and I'll demonstrate that in just a moment. I'll turn all the lights off and show you how that works. Next, the receiving for automatic reception of your multiband 6 and your connection to your smartphone. You can turn that on or off. Next up, power save mode, where it turns off the display overnight. You can turn that off, and when that's off, then the display will not turn off because you're not doing power saving. So that might seem a little backwards here. Power save off means the display is on all the time. Power save on means the display will turn off overnight. Okay, and we're back to the beginning. So that's everything. That's how you set it up. That's how you use the Bluetooth. That's all the modes that it does. And of course, I've set it to the wrong date and the wrong time and the wrong everything there. So what I'm going to do now is reconnect it to the app. Okay, hold that. And again, it's going to show on the app that it's trying to connect. Takes a few seconds. Once the data has been properly received over here, then poof, I'm back to the correct time and date, time zone, everything. The correction is just that fast when you're using Bluetooth instead of multiband 6. And I know some people really want to know, how does it look on my wrist? I have about a 7.5-inch wrist, and I've waited until this very moment. This is the first time I've actually worn this particular watch, and that's what it looks like on my 7.5-inch wrist. Not a whole lot of extra space on this watch band if I had a really big wrist, but good enough for me, good enough for now. That's what it looks like. The backlight of this watch is an LED backlight, and I push the button up here and you can see, it's got a special little illustration there of a finch that appears in the backlight there. It comes on, it kind of fades in and fades out. And since I have an active reminder on here, at the end of the fade out, it kind of blinks orange or red a little bit on there just to help to remind you that there is a reminder. But anyway, that's what you're going to see on the backlight, as opposed to this other one that had kind of a shark theme. So there's the shark backlight and there's the Finch backlight. So they're kind of fun. And when the automatic backlight is turned on, when you turn your wrist up like this, then the lights come on automatically for whatever duration you've chosen. So that's kind of a fun thing with the backlights on these particular watches. And really, that's about it for now. I'm not going to weigh this watch. It weighs the same as my other regular G-Shock squares. It's comfortable. It's nice. It's familiar. And, you know, I've got two of them now. Okay, I got the green one. I got the blue one. There's one more watch in the Galapagos Island Charles Darwin Foundation collaboration. It's sort of my mini collection within a collection of G-Shock squares. Do you think I'll get that third watch with the tortoise theme and all the yellow on it? I don't know. Do you think it'll run slow since it's a tortoise? I might have to get one just to find out. And if I do, I'm going to just say, hey, stay tuned, because there will be more episodes of the Good Timekeeping Show.